Good morning, Nigeria. It's a fresh Tuesday, the 2nd of December, and the political terrain is already heating up. I'm Manuel Wapoido, and this is Daybreak Live, your sharp, steady start to the day.
And I am Samson Balogun. One story is shaking the political space this morning. In fact, two, former Minister Rotimi Amechi declaring boldly, "My ambition is to become president. I won't settle for VP slot. No ambiguity and no footnotes." So he's stepping squarely into the 2026 conversation, and definitely the governor of Osun State, Ademola Adeleke, yesterday, as at last night, has been said to have moved from the PDP. To what party? We don't know yet.
Breaking news. Exactly. It signals one thing. Ambition season is open, and the real alignment battles are beginning to take shape across the political blocks and everything.
All right, and that's actually true. In a moment, Anu brings you the Daybreak News, delivering the key developments shaping Nigeria's governance and the politics at sunrise.
Then it's newspaper headlines and analysis, where we dig beneath the surface with our analyst Victor Akinleye, a political scientist and public affairs analyst on this show today.
All right, moving on. Our big story today goes straight into one of Nigeria's most debated political questions, the Muslim presidency debate, marginalization or misperception. That's one question we have to ask ourselves this morning. Is it a legitimate argument for inclusion or a narrative shaped by politics?
And to break it down, we're joined by Oluwakemi Ademola Aremu, human rights activist, public speaker, and analyst. Expect a straightforward, unfiltered conversation today.
Absolutely, and we'll wrap things up this morning with Trend Watch, the biggest conversations trending across the country as we step fully into the week.
It's Tuesday, it's December, and Nigeria is already in motion.
Absolutely. If you are saying in motion, you must be smelling that already in town right now. It started yesterday, end of the year form fair, Christmas form fair started yesterday, and it was something amazing. You really have to be there. But if you missed it, you have to be here today, tomorrow, and of course till 24th of December 2025. And this is Daybreak Live. Let's get it started.
Absolutely. I think we started yesterday, especially on a high note.
Absolutely.
It was an epoch-making event yesterday. The roadshow across Ibadan, the whole of Ibadan knew that Dominion
something was happening,
was doing something. And of course, it's a good way to start the month.
Absolutely. You know, you just have to do things the right way. And I think that was one big statement made yesterday across the city of Ibadan. And definitely, it's a decision made out of the intention to make sure that the good news about December and definitely about Christmas is spread across the city of Ibadan. And the one thing that caught my attention was the fact that the price for to see Father Christmas was actually brought down to as low as 3,000 naira, which for me is one thing that says, look, we want it to cut across every strata. I mean, the less privileged, the underprivileged, let me put it that way, and definitely those who could afford it. So for me, I think it was made open out of the ingenuity of the management to say, look, let's make it as accessible as possible. And that is really interesting.
I think it's a call for humanity, to express humanity, just to accommodate as many people as we can, regardless of class, because you don't have to do so much to get 3,000 naira. Not to say it is not, but of course, if you check what other persons might charge for that, you know, it's quite a lot to come to this particular station and have all of those benefits. I saw our Father Christmas, amazing Father Christmas, all the way from Rome. You know, fantastic. You know, if you have to see some of the social media content we have. You have to see our Father Christmas.
If we continue with that Christmas issue, we definitely will not be in this place
definitely.
Today. And then that takes us to the 2026 already eating up and ahead of 2027. And Rotimi Amechi, a former minister and definitely former governor of Rivers State for 8 years. And at the point, he was also a legislator. So he said, look, at this point, If anyone has joined our political party and became a card-carrying member of the party, it still does not make a difference, as I will not step down for anyone, and I'm definitely going to run for presidency. Don't forget that he made this statement in 2023 while the presidential primaries for the APC was being conducted, and the current president, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, was also in the running. Some would say a person like Rotimi Amechi, who was known to be an ally of the president at the time, should actually step down and maybe give his support to someone who they know in terms of politics and understanding of the terrain, knows way better than some of them. They should step down for him. But then he went all the way. He contested. In fact, there was a video of him running across the stadium, making it known that, look, I'm not stepping down for anyone. And he went ahead to contest the primaries, even though the current president actually won it. So if he's saying this at this time, I'm quite sure that he's going to do the same thing. And some people are asking this question: is this another decision that is definitely going to bring an end to the ADC and the coalition movement? Don't forget that as it stands, most of the political parties are actually zoning their presidential ticket to the Southwest. Maybe they are saying, look, the South should get the next 4 years, and say, look, the North got 8 years, and then the South should also get 4 years. Now it depends on which part of Southwest you want to add, which part of the South you want to put it. Maybe Southwest, South, Southeast, regardless. But the point is, some of them are actually doing that, including the PDP. If you look at the national convention they conducted, it has actually opened the way that the presidency will be zoned to the Southwest, because the Northerners got the chairmanship of the party according to what they had in Ibadan, the convention. So it means that the ticket for the presidency will be zoned to the South. If it is now Southwest, Southeast, or South-South, well, that will be done and decided on the primaries, and of course the party will be the ones to decide that. But as it stands, if the ADC says they want to give their ticket to a Northerner or a Southerner, I think the structure, the federal character, so to say, in the party will determine where the ticket is going. But it happened in 2023 also in the PDP, where the PDP chairmanship was being held by someone from the North. And eventually the presidential ticket was given to someone from the North, which actually broke the party. And then we saw the emergence of the G5, which included Nyesom Wike, Seyi Makinde of Oyo State, and so many other, Samuel Otom of Benue State, and Ifeanyi Igboanyi, Okezie Ikpeazu. There were 5 of them, and then they broke out of the party. And definitely, before then too, I think that was 2019, we also had the NPDP, led by the former Senate President Bukola Saraki, that they matched with the APC. I think that was 2015 actually. They matched with the APC, eventually producing the last president, the late former President Muhammadu Buhari. So all this put together, I think this is another crisis waiting to happen in the ADC.
Exactly like you've said. But let me start the conversation by asking a question. What does it take to be a presidential candidate in the country? Or what does it take to be a veritable, potent, competent president in the country? No. So I was trying to check into Amechi's qualification. And of course, you all know that he was a former Minister of Transportation. So some would question, would that be enough? Not just that. He was also a former Rivers State governor at the time, And also, they have also made claims that he was in the know as to how the then President Buhari, late Buhari,
was one of the governors.
Exactly. So there's all those claims together to say these are the reasons we are presenting for Rotimi to vie for this position. But some would question his credibility. Now, maybe we need to now go back to what he's done as a governor and as the Minister of Transportation. Were there differences? Were there things that were exceptional for him to say is ready to bail the cat as regards the presidential seat in the country? That's also a question. But all of these things is, well, maybe it's not bad to declare intention to run for president.
You see, before you go forward, I think if you remove, or maybe barring the financial implication, I think most Nigerians will come out and say they are qualified to be president. I think that would be. You are qualified to be president. I am qualified to be president.
It's up
aside from the fact that I cannot bankroll a presidential election in the
50
country.
million naira.
That's just for the ticket.
Exactly.
It will take you billions of naira to make you president in this country, regardless of whether you are going through
and all that.
That's the
yeah. So let me round off my thoughts to say he wants to become the president and not the vice president. While some will argue that why didn't you start from the vice presidential, candidate or ticket or whatever you want to call it. But some would also profess to him that instead of just running on your own, do you have, like you said, the financial wherewithal? Do you have the backing of the, the big guns in that particular space to run for this? And do you also have anybody that will bankroll you? Now, maybe some would say there's a better chance of him becoming greater than, whatever he wants to think of right now, if he actually starts by becoming the vice president to Atiku. Because, of course, I'm not saying this like my opinion, but if you put Atiku on one side and put Rotimi Amechi to probably check for their qualifications. I think Atiku has done more in terms of governance to say he was at one time a vice president of this very country, and he's also done quite a number of things too. And he's been in the know as well. He's also been in that particular space. He's run for a presidency. He's willing to also do more and all of that. So we can say Atiku, in a sense, might be more credible. Some would allege, but that is not a factual thing to say until we actually say it. Because I don't like to believe because somebody has done something in the political space, then the person is automatically competent. Because our grading system and our metrics are sometimes and somehow skewed. They are negatively skewed to one side because all we have seen is all they have given us. What if there's more? So a lot of us are already at that mediocre level to say whatever they bring. I mean, Atiku can do, he has done something. Rotimi can do, he has done something. It is not about doing something. It's about doing something exceptional, something different. Because for Nigeria to move forward, for Nigeria to leave the position it currently is, he needs to do more. Right? He needs to maybe put something that has not been done in a long time. Maybe something more, a lot of ingenuity, a lot of innovation, a lot of creativity into that system for Nigeria to work. But the question is still, but maybe not the question now. One of the things we are going to keep our fingers crossed for is that we are still going to see a lot of things unfolding after now. Now, I know a lot of persons will also rise to say they want to contest for presidency, but maybe we need to put it out to everybody that before you say you want to do this, rest assured that Nigerians will call and will speak truth to power and will call for questioning. We'll ask you questions. If you say you are credible, we don't just want to hear the word of mouth. We want to see the actions. What are you bringing on the table? So this is where political ideology should come in. I cannot wait for presidential debates to happen in this country again. And I want to see all of these guys that are saying they want to contest. I want to see them on the podium. Let's have you speak what you... I think in the United States, the last election between Joe Biden and then the presidential, the current president, United States President Donald Trump, was quite a thing. There was, you could tell, you could almost tell that there was going to be a lead position for Donald Trump. Because at some point you could see, Kamala also did a thing, but you could see Biden was not, strong enough to withstand Trump's. And Trump does not, he throws words around. And that's exactly one of the things we're expecting. If you really want to do what, or you have the power, the competence to do what you're claiming to do, then let's have it spelled out. Come out and tell us, these are the things. Don't just tell us you want to run for presidency. I mean, everybody can run, like you said. Anu can say Anu for president. And that's not enough. But what do you want to bring on the table? The table is here. We have a cup. What do you want to bring on the table?
Well, when it comes to qualification and competence, I think so many Nigerians would say, oh, they can also throw their hearts in and say, look, I also want to be a part of this. But very quickly, let me talk about it. You see, one of the challenges we have had as a country is we have laid too much emphasis on what we call experience. And sometimes it doesn't really work that way. It's about competence. It's about what you can bring to the table. It's about what you know. What you don't know, you cannot give. And sometimes what you don't know, you get to tap from people, especially when you are the president or probably a governor. Your job and the responsibility is to bring in people that will help you solve problems. Unfortunately, we have turned this to what we call compensations. We compensate people with strategic positions. Take, for example, the Ministry of Works, the Ministry of Marine, and some other things. There are so many other ministries where you can actually plant people. But who are you putting there? So it will be a reflection of what you are capable of doing because you have put the wrong people at the corridor of power. Now, let's now bring it down to what is currently going on in the normal space, in the employment space. You see a particular company saying, oh, we are looking for a 25-year-old, a fresh graduate who is 25-year-old with 7 years experience. I mean, how? How? I mean, it's not explainable. Explain to me in plain terms how you want this person to have this kind of experience. And then at the end of the day, when you want to check how much is to be paid to that person, then you will know exactly why they need a 25-year-old because they know that at that stage, that person doesn't really need much. I mean, there's no burden from the family, there's no burden from anyone. I mean, you do not really have something you want to do with money at that time. You just want to work, because as a fresh graduate, what comes to your mind, aside from the goals you have for yourself, maybe in the next 5 years in the working space, you just want to work. Let me get job first, and then when you get it, then you begin to plan. That is when it is until you get your first salary that you realize, oh, I think I need more than this. Then you start working on more. But the problem is we are laying too much emphasis on experience. Take, for example, the current governor of Oyo State, Engineer Seyi Makinde. At the point, people said, oh, he has never been a member of the Oyo State House of Assembly. He had never been a governor, a senator, never been a federal member of the House of Representatives, or maybe a deputy governor. But eventually, he won. He's the governor now. Whether he does well or he doesn't, that is left to the people to decide. But the point is, eventually, he became governor. So it's not really about experience. And then, yes, sometimes experience counts. If you, especially when in the current situation where Nigeria is currently facing bashing across the world as regards the current state of the country in terms of insecurity, if we have someone without experience at the helms of affairs, I think we will have it worse than this. But then he's calm in addressing the issue, has really helped in one way or the other. And then you now see the body language about who they have actually placed in those 3 countries where Nigeria has more problems. They are people with experience. They are not. They are career diplomats. They are not long career diplomats. People who have been. So when you look at where they are putting them, and people that have been put in France, the United Kingdom, and definitely America, you would know that is a statement of intent.
Of intent, yeah. But there's been a lot of claims about the nominees of the president.
Definitely. Even in America, you have people who have been, put at, in such places because, oh, they are politicians, so they are friends of the president, they are this, they are that. So it happens everywhere.
Exactly. Like you mentioned too, experience counts when it's leadership experience.
Absolutely.
Political experience is what is really questionable for a lot of persons to say that you've done something before. There's a saying that some people claim to have 20 years of experience. Meanwhile, they only had 1 year of experience repeated 19 times. So you could tell that this person is not a leader. This person is a politician. And there's a stark difference.
Need a professional space to bring your vision to life? Dominion Television Studios offers state-of-the-art facilities perfect for your next broadcast, commercial, corporate video, or live event. With flexible rental options, cutting-edge equipment, and a supportive team, we provide the perfect environment for high-quality productions. Unleash your creativity. For bookings, email us at marketing@dominion.org.ng. Call us on 0705 506 1061 or 0916 101 1061. Check us out on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and TikTok at Dominion Broadcast, and on X at Dominion Casts. Book your space today. Dominion Television, your channel of choice.
Hello and welcome. This is Daybreak News on Dominion Television. My name is Anu Luakbo Ido. The presidency has called on Nigerians to actively help monitor compliance with President Bola Tinubu's directive to withdraw police escort for very important personalities, VIPs. The appeal was made by the President's Special Advisor on Media and Public Communication, Daniel Bola, who highlighted the administration's commitment to enforcing the order and urged citizens to document any violations. The Special Advisor clarified that the withdrawal does not apply to all government officials. Bola added that other security agencies such as the State Security Service, SSS, and Civil Defense would provide protection where necessary. The federal government, through the Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission (NUPRC), has unveiled a plan to attract about $10 billion in new investment and unlock up to 2 billion barrels of crude oil reserves through the newly commenced Nigeria 2025 petroleum licensing round. Unveiling the bid round in Abuja, the chief executive of the Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission, Benga Komolafe, said the exercise, covering 50 oil and gas blocks across onshore, shallow water, frontier and deep water terrains, would help reverse declining exploration activity, expand reserves and boost national production. Komolafe said the round marks a major step in the country's push to revitalize exploration and boost long-term production capacity. Meanwhile, the High Court of the Federal Capital Territory, FCT, sitting in Maitama, has granted the request by the prosecution to further shift the hearing of the alleged criminal defamation charge brought against Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan by the Office of the Attorney General of the Federation. Justice Chizoba Oji said the court received a letter from the prosecution requesting an adjournment and that the letter had handed to Idahosa, who said he was not served with it. He argued that the prosecution's request for adjournment was not brought to the notice of the defense 48 hours before the court sitting as required. Ruling, Justice Oji said she agreed that the application for adjournment did not meet the required threshold, but added that she would grant the adjournment in the interest of justice. The judge subsequently adjourned to February 23, 2026. The Osun State chapter of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, has postponed its 2026 governorship primary due to unresolved internal disputes within the party's national leadership. It was gathered that the primary was originally slated for Tuesday, December 2, 2025. Today, announcing the decision in Osogbo through a statement by State Chairman Sunday Bisi, the party stated that Governor Ademola Adeleke had fulfilled all procedural requirements earlier outlined in the PDP nomination timetable. However, it disclosed that internal conflict at the national level escalated soon after the screening process, leading to the suspension of key officers responsible for overseeing congresses and primaries. And in business, Dangote Petroleum Refinery has confirmed its commitment to supply Nigeria's domestic petrol requirement, pledging 1.5 billion litres of premium motor spirit, popularly known as petrol, per month, equivalent to 50 million litres per day, starting in December 2025. The refinery reviewed this in a letter to the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority, NMDPRA, stating that the supply is set to rise to 57 million litres daily from February 2026. Dangote Refinery requested support from NMDPRA to host officials on site from 1st December to validate and publicly publish daily production and stock volumes, noting that the move is intended to ensure full transparency and strengthen public confidence in the availability of domestic fuel. And finally, in sports, Super Falcons goalkeeper Chiamaka Nnadozie has won the English Women's Super League WSL Save of the Month award for November. Nnadozie beat strong competition from Aston Villa's Sabrina D'Angelo, Liverpool's Faye Kirby and Manchester City's Ayaka Yamashita to win the award for the very first time. The shot-stopper won the award for her brilliant stave in Brighton's 1-1 draw with Liverpool. And that's about it on Daybreak News. You can visit us on our website, www.dominion.org.ng, to watch us live and interact with us. You can also follow us across our social media platforms on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and LinkedIn at Dominion Broadcast, and on X at Dominion Cast. And that's Daybreak News. I am Anolu Akpo Idowu. Thank you for watching.
Live from the heart of the action. Welcome to the nerve center of Next Level Broadcasting.
This This is the OB van, where the studio meets the street.
Equipped with cutting-edge cameras, crystal clear audio, real-time switching, and broadcast control, we don't just capture moments, we deliver the experience live.
Anywhere, anytime, from stadiums to red carpets, breaking news to buzzing festivals, weddings, birthdays, and all sorts of ceremonies. We bring the world to your screen in real time.
It's not just a van, it's a complete mobile production house, a command center, a broadcast beast.
This is more than a broadcast. This is the OB van difference. Live, loud, limitless.
Ready to go live? Like never before. Book the OB van today and take your event to the world. One powerful broadcast at a time.
To book, call 0705 506 1061 or 0916 101 1061. Email marketing@dominion.org.ng or visit our socials on Instagram @Dominion Broadcast.
Dominion Broadcast, your channel of choice.
And just a few days after southern, or should we say southwestern governors came to say we are backing state policing, northern governors have also pitched their tent right exactly where the southwest governors have pitched theirs. And on the front page of the newspaper, the story caption reads, Northern governors okay state police suspend mining. That's exactly one of the stories we'll be checking out this morning on this particular edition. Welcome to the newspaper headlines and analysis segment of Daybreak Live, where we bring the stories that are breaking and developing across the news platform. We check the stories that are making the rounds, the high points, the low points, and we pinpoint every one of those stories. We'll get into the print, particularly the Vanguard newspaper. But before then, let me make welcome on this podium as well today, Victor Akinleye. It's good to have you. Good morning to you.
Good morning, sir. How are you doing?
Very well.
Thank you.
You look very good today.
Thank you.
As usual.
Thank
So let's get straight into the stories. Vanguard newspaper has it boldly written that northern governors okay state policing, suspend mining. Oh, that's all. You probably find this on many newsprints. It's making the bold caption, making the front page of many newspapers this morning. So we'll get into that conversation earnestly on the Vanguard newspaper, especially with Victor now. Victor, this seems like the way to go for the northern governors, saying they also want to build their tents where southwestern governors have said, you know what, state policing is the order of the day, and that's what we should follow. It seems state policing eventually will become a national consensus. But what do you make of all of this?
That's the excuse me. That's the way to go. If you for some years now, that has been a major discussion in the community, in the society, that the Nigerian police do not have, or does not have, the body now does not have enough human resources. So, and the recruitment process, their recruitment process has always been less standard. So, we need more hands in that organization.
And maybe just to add to that, recall that recently the federal government, Tinubu-led administration said they were going to court. Of course they did. And they are asking people to be the whistleblowers. If you see police officers with just anybody, you should blow your whistle to say there's been a particular circular in the country that VIPs should not have attached to them police officers because we need them to do something else than what they are doing. But exactly, let's take it from the different angles now. For one, some police officers are not happy about this. Do you know why?
Of course.
Yeah, because we have to talk about remuneration for them too. When we talk about the structure, the salary structure of the police, is nothing so exciting for many of them. So what they get from politicians, from VIPs, is more than even what they get as salary.
Of course.
So some of them are claiming, we don't want this. Let us stay here. We are okay. We are comfortable here and all that. But the case is, we need to beef up security across the states, across the Nigerian state. There's so much insurgency and all of this. But now the northern governors are saying okay to state policing. But there's been an issue, and I want you to clarify this, if you would like. The issue of the fact that there's a chance that governors of states begin to use those security networks for their own personal good. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? So there's a chance that the control, because who gives the order? Who gives the control to, state policemen or state police department, if not the governor of that state, because they respond, or of course, the commissioner of police and then the governor. But what do we say to this? How can we make this better and not make a loophole even while we are trying to work on state policing? How can we, foresee and curb all of those, those problems that might arise from state policing as well?
Okay, good observation. But at the same time, let's not focus on the negative side of it. Let's focus more on the positive side of it, because it has more positivity than the negativities. How do I mean? When we have state policing, we have more men in the security, security unit. So 100,000 policemen, federal level, where that is not even enough for state policing, meaning there will be more job creation within the states. Security will be high, or is that the right word? There will be the security of the states, of each state, will improve. All right. And then I just mentioned job creation, right? And then and some other benefits there. So these are the benefits. Now, would the governor use them for personal benefit? When there were no state police, are governors or are governments not using police for personal benefits? Of course, yes. So when there's state policing, it will continue. Don't forget that. It will continue. But let's focus more on the good side of it. I don't know many, I know two. One, there will be job creation. Secondly, there will be increased security in each state. Those two are enough, at least.
But I'm trying to let us do something called solutions journalism, where we look for loopholes and fill it before we get into this proactivity. And I want you to really speak to it again. I will still ask, I'll take you up on that again. If we do not foresee these things and then it catches us off guard, it means we are not proactive. But let's work on proactivity, let's work on solutions. Are there ways to forestall this? Are there ways to curb governors manipulating the security architecture in the state for their own good, especially during elections, especially when they want to do some personal party political movements?
That's a big one. Well, that question is not general. The answer to that question is not general. Like I've always said, there are some politicians that are not corrupt as a person. So whoever is not corrupt outside public office is likely not going to be corrupt in public office. Although some of them might be, influenced. But if you really want to stand your ground, you might not be corrupt in public office. If you have been corrupt out before you get to the public office, there's assurance that when you get to the public office, you will still be corrupt. So this answer, I would answer it to be, how do I put it now? I would say it is personal on each person in each office. So I don't want to mention names, but if you were not, we've seen governments, or we've seen governors, we've seen people in political offices who were not corrupt, who really didn't manipulate their ways into things, who really didn't do bad. Yeah. And then people like them will continue to maintain order. We continue to maintain right deeds. And those that didn't have right deeds, who manipulated their way into public office, will continue to manipulate things even when they're in public office. So I think it's a question of personality more than generalism.
All right, let's stretch our legs a bit further now into something still security. Now, there's a report, well, it broke out just yesterday, that the defense minister, Badaru, has resigned. So that questions many things, especially at this point in time that we are in now as a country. The fragility of the state, especially of the security architecture of the state, how that there's been claims by the United States government to interfere, how that some have said allow that, don't allow that, how that there's also the case of banditry and all of this that the president is saying, we are taking full action. Yesterday, the president spoke to the president and said, you know what, let's do this. We are going to take the bull by the horns. So say we are going to get this nipped in the bud already. So it seems like a development, but just few hours after that, like I say, few moments later, something happened, and that was Badaru, the defense minister, resigning. What does this speak? What is the language that is not written, but that is inside this particular text? What are the in-between the lines conversation that might have gone wrong or might have gone on in this conversation of Badaru resigning? If the defense minister is saying, I've had enough, I'm leaving, I don't want to do this again, does it... No, I don't want to preempt what you have to say. But again, what do you think this reflects, especially in the security system of the country?
Well, we would have a lot of guesswork will come into this, but for me, I will say two things. I will stay in between two things. One, incapacity. Two, guilt. Or three, like you said, tired. So let me break that down. Incapacity in the sense that I've been here for all this while and all of these things are happening. It means I can't do it. Let me just go home and let somebody who can do it, do it. If that is the case, I salute that decision. On the other hand, guilt. We can really trust nobody at that level. Of course, I'll say that again. We can really trust nobody at that level. We have had rumors of politicians negotiating with terrorists so that they can get political offices. We've had rumors of national figures resourcing bandits and all that. So we really don't know who to trust. We really don't know who to trust. So maybe it just felt at this point, guilt is eating me up. Let me just leave this place and let somebody more innocent undo this affair. And on the third thing is, maybe again, he's just tired of the whole thing. You get to a point in your life, you just be tired. Like, I think I'm just tired. I think my health is not helping me. I don't just want to get myself into anything again. Let me just go home and let somebody else undo this. So either of these three things or none of these three things might be happening. But I just feel at this point, it's still very fresh. At this point, everybody will still be guessing what is going on. Let's give it a few more time. Things will unravel. The truth will unravel. Lies will also unravel. So,
well, it's coming at a time when there's also another story, right, in our very eyes, especially about the claims by Ribadu saying that, United States, France, UK, and some other persons are backing with technical support. That's exactly according to Ribadu, and it's on the Vanguard newspaper, particularly page 8 this morning. So we have all of that and then the resignation. But like you said, we'll keep our fingers crossed and see what becomes of this. There's going to be a press release about this, then we'll get to see this. Now let's talk bilateral relations, especially in the African sector, to think about Nigeria protects Guinea-Bissau's opposition candidate. That's about the coup that is in Guinea-Bissau. Let's just stretch a bit further into Guinea-Bissau. The former president, Ebele Jonathan Goodluck, came back to Nigeria after he was caught in that particular tension at the time. Then he came back to say he made likely that the issue in Guinea-Bissau was not really a coup, it was more of a democratic kind of coup, because he was saying it wasn't really straightforward, because the president announced right before the coup came to be. But exactly the case, I want to ask you simply, especially as it concerns the country Nigeria, are we leading by examples? And are we doing the right, especially in the ECOWAS body? What is the influence of this nation as to the rest of the African community? Because if we are supposed to lead, then we should lead right. We should lead by example. You should lead people to where they should go, especially as the leading state. If we claim to be the giant of Africa.
Nigeria is the giant of Africa.
You're saying that with a bold claim.
Yes, sir.
But have we proven that?
Here's the thing. If you go to some neighboring nations, before I go to the negative part, if you go to some neighboring nations, you go properly, and then you are in their community, and you mention your name, you are from Nigeria, you will see some level of, sometimes subtle.
That could just be an old glory.
Hold on, I'm coming. It could be subtle, but you will see the respect, like, wow, Nigerian. That respect, that subtle fear is still there. So, hence why the xenophobia then, like, these guys, they are just everywhere, they are better than us, let them go, let's kill them, so that, and other ones like that. So, economically, don't forget that Nigeria has maybe not the best economy in Africa. I may not be able to beat my chest to say the best, but of course the largest in Africa. There are still a lot of things that, unless they get to Nigeria, it hasn't gotten to Africa. In fact, let's go to music. There are a lot of musicians that until they get to Nigeria, they won't cross all the borders of Africa. I can go all along. A lot of nations, Western nations, will sell to Nigeria. When they sell to Nigeria, they know they have won the entire continent. A lot of multinationals have their headquarters in Lagos, in Abuja, in Nigeria, not necessarily other nations. So is Nigeria doing well? My brother, it is because we are inside Nigeria that we are thinking Nigeria is not doing well. Let me tell you this, Nigeria is repping outside productively. But at home, we are not really doing well.
But because that must translate to the betterment of the Nigerian people. No matter how much repute we think we have in the outside community, it must translate to an average Nigerian saying, I'm proud to be a Nigerian, and I'm working, I'm earning what I should earn, and I'm enjoying power, I'm enjoying security, my life is not at risk. Those are one of the basic requirements of an average person. We do not ask for much. I mean, you've seen a lot of Nigerians say, we don't need much. We just need to survive, basic things. And I think you've also mentioned that before. But that's not exactly the case. If you check across board, you see a lot of people still complaining, not because they just want to grumble, but because the situation is not palatable for many of them. But let's leave that situation now. Let's talk about the federal government proposing 40% salary increase for ASU lecturers. That's exactly a big deal. I know that's also a matter in your heart. It's very deep to you because you're a person who gives credence to education. So let's speak about this. You've experienced ASU strike, ASU situation at one point or the other, and maybe some of your friends and your brothers must have gone through this. So speak as a Nigerian and speak as a technocrat who wants to help the Nigerian state. 40% increment seems like a good way to go. But what could be the underlying things that we are not seeing, or what ways can the government tackle strike and strike again in the education sector?
40% increment for ASU, trust me, is too much. Can government sustain that? Do you know the number of lecturers we have across all the nations, all the institutions in Nigeria under ASU? That's 36 states. So we have 36 universities plus other ones. Are you getting me? So we have roughly over 50 universities under ASU. Are you with me? And then each of them would have how many numbers of lecturers, from senior lecturer down to, under ASU. 40% increase. You know what that means? So if either of them is receiving, let's say, at least minimum of 100,000 naira, meaning the person is now earning 140,000 naira. Am I right? Now multiply that on every lecturer in one university across the entire nation. Can this sitting government pay that sum? Does the sitting government have the resources to pay that sum? Are we not also looking at inflation at some point? Where would they pull out that fund from to pay ASU? What about other parastatals that also need money? What about the doctors? I think it's just a way to let them go back to work, and then in few years to come, we'll now come back to this place.
Let me pick your brains on this, the particular issue you've mentioned. I think you made valid points to talk about sustainability. How sustainable is this? But again, maybe you are also speaking, let me be sure you're not speaking from the sense of we do not have enough, especially in the government's coffers, to spend. We don't have that much to spend. But I'm thinking, what if we have enough to spend for education, enough to spend for resident doctors, enough to spend for every facet of economy?
If we have enough, you just said, what if? That's a proverbial
No,
statement.
I mean, like Nigeria, like you know, Nigeria it has a large economy. We have politicians, we have members in the House of Representatives and the likes, at the Senate level, earning as much as, you know, many persons would never dream to have. So how about that? Can we cut some money from there and
Yes.
probably give it to those people?
So when we adjust the constitution, that's why I said I am not in support of only the NAS and the assembly, only the legislative arm reviewing the constitution, because they won't review to favor you and I. They will definitely not review it to unfavor them too. What they rake in on monthly basis is too much. So the government budget on the legislative arm of government is too much. If you can cut that down, then we may have money to cater for all these things. But what the Senate, the Assembly, all of them are taking is too much. That said, there are some other parastatals that are not functional, yet money is going in there. There are some parastatals that only work once in a term. Like the census board now. Well, I may not be able to say census board is not working year in, year out. But the truth is, are they really working year in, year out? When was the last time we conducted census in Nigeria? That was during Goodluck Jonathan. So if you ask me, I would say the census board should be an ad hoc commission where when we need to do population census, we set up an organization. And then when we are not doing, let them go. We leave them. Or put them under an existing commission. You know why? So that you can reduce because people are going there now, collecting salary every day, yet doing nothing. And some other, you hear infrastructure you hear a commission for storm and something control, erosion control. How many times have they controlled erosion? Yet people resume there and collect salary. They have a director general overseeing that commission, yet doing almost nothing. If we can tune that down, scrap that office, or put that office, make it a department or a commission or a sub-commission under an existing one, it will be better. Then we'll reduce cost going there, then we'll have more money. You get me? To fund other things. But I'm saying with what we have now, that is not sustainable.
I mean, so much to say. You've made valid point, very strong one. And of course, we will also expect that something would come out of this. But let's speak very quickly to the Niger abduction issue. Yesterday, we also brought it out in the news too, that we're having sleepless nights. Parents of those children are complaining to the National Security Advisor to say, Ribadu, we have had enough. Please, we want our children. And not just them, the whole country. In fact, people in the diaspora have also lent a voice to this to say, we need these girls back. Their parents are having sleepless nights. If you have to consider what it takes to raise a child to a point, and then all of a sudden you are not seeing your child, not even a dead body, not even the presence of the child, you are just all by yourself. The trauma that can happen to a parent and all that. So speak to this issue very quickly in the few minutes that we have to say what is possible or what are the things that can be done, especially to tackle this whole issue, get the girls back in earnest.
You know, when we say things like, it doesn't matter what government will do, just bring back our girls. Whether you have to negotiate, whether you have to pay ransom, whether this, whether that, it usually sounds as though we support negativity. We support the fact that government should negotiate with terrorists. No. I personally do not support the fact that any governor or any government is negotiating with terrorists. No sane person would support that. But at this point, if that is what to do to to bring back these girls, whether you want to negotiate or you want to pay ransom or you want to whatever. Just bring back these girls. Yoruba would say, "Ọmọ ẹni sọnù, ó yá ju ọmọ." Sorry, "Ọmọ ẹni kú, ó yá ju ọmọ ẹni nù lọ." Meaning, if your child dies, you know this child is die. I will mourn the death of this child 40 days. After 40 days, I will go back to eating. It's better than this child is lost. I don't even know where he or she is, whether she's still alive or. Then consider this too. Government should also think their kids are abroad, so they don't. I always say they can't relate. You understand me? They can't relate. So their kids are abroad. These girls would have been raped, would have been molested. Some of them would have some of them should have their monthly flow. There's no pad. You get it? There's no. What about the government should do anything it takes to bring them home?
So you mean even at the expense of negotiating?
Sir, if your daughter is out there, you won't care whatever government does. You just want your girl back home.
A valid point. I think we'll round up on one story that is of interest to a lot of people in the political space, particularly the PDP. Confusion over Adeleke as PDP National Working Committee, Osun State Chapter differ on governorship primaries. There's been that issue about different, confusion over Adeleke as PDP NWC Osun Chapter differ on governorship primaries. They were supposed to have it today, yes, but it's not holding. And some have also claimed that Adeleke, breaking news, has just moved to another party.
I foresaw that. I think I mentioned it.
Okay, so what exactly is the fate of the PDP in Osun State?
They have a bad fit, because obviously Adeleke. I really want to say this. Adeleke, every governor would want a second term. Virtually every governor would want a second term. And with the look of things, he realizing that his second term is not sure if he remains in the party, whether because of federal might or because of some state level contentions, he may have to decamp. That's number one. Number two, did you hear this news? I don't know if you heard this news that Governor, what's his name now? Adeleke and his older brother, who is not in, flew to meet Tinubu, or Tinubu invited them, the president invited them, I think, for a meeting and all that. That was all we had. And then Ojogate, sorry, here and there it happened. Then Adeleke didn't come or didn't go to PDP convention, national convention that held in Ibadan, Oyo State. And my question was, why didn't he go? What was the meeting with the president for? Why was his brother in that meeting and all that and all that? So, my dear brother, like I said sometimes ago, that the sitting president or the federal government will do everything. No, let me put it this way. The ruling federal political party will do everything humanly possible to destroy PDP, because PDP is the only party that can contest against them. So whether they would, of course, not only Adeleke now. I had some news some days ago from an honorable in the APC that two governors, I won't mention their names, two governors, they are waiting for them to decamp to APC. So, I say it again, APC will do everything possible to ensure PDP doesn't stand, because it is only PDP that can contest against them. So once they destroy the party, what is left?
Okay, Akim Baba Ahmed said something quite notable. He said Tinubu shouldn't seek re-election. He can't run this government. That's an opinion of Akim Baba Ahmed. What do you make of this?
That he can't run this government. You said it is his opinion. But truthfully, can he run the government?
What do you think?
What we've seen is what I think.
Or what have you seen?
Everything we've seen.
Well, no, I need
Bad
you to. I need you to
economy,
put the
inflation.
words in.
Bad economy, inflation, insecurity. Goodluck Jonathan cried for insecurity. We thought he was a bad president, that his government was bad. We didn't have it this bad. Dollar wasn't this high than Naira. Come on.
But what do you think, if someone else could have been the president, what do you think could have happened in the space of 3 years or 4?
Well, someone else like who?
I wouldn't know, but if you have an angel in mind, maybe someone like a figure in your mind to say, this person can save Nigeria, what do you expect the person to do in 3 years? Considering the state of the deplorable state of the state.
The thing is this. When Buhari was president, we always think Buhari was not capable of doing a lot of things. If you go back to check Buhari's, to review Buhari's government, Nigeria wasn't this bad. Nigeria wasn't this bad. No. There were a lot of changes Buhari effected. Yes, that might not be as public as you might think, but he effected some changes. But then you came, and then in 3 years, it's up to 3 years, and then inflation, insecurity, bad economy. Do you know the number of people that have left this nation, and those that cannot even now leave again because there is no money to leave? You understand? People are literally stuck. Businesses are really going down by the day because of increase in dollar exchange rate, increase in exchange rate. Businesses are crying. I do business, and an average businessman cries every day. Your career people, their salary is not enough to buy stuff on the market again. In just 2 years.
I mean, there's so much to unfold, especially with this conversation. But for want of time, we have to switch on to the next. Thank you very much, Victor Akinlani, for coming to the studio today.
Thank you for having me.
And of course, we now switch our gears and focus to the big story. Of course, the Muslim presidency debate is something to talk about with Samson and Oluwakemi Ademola. Stay with us, and we'll be back shortly after this break.
Need a professional space to bring your vision to life? Dominion Television Studios offers state-of-the-art facilities perfect for your next broadcast, commercial, corporate video, or live event. With flexible rental options, cutting-edge equipment, and a supportive team, we provide the perfect environment for high-quality productions. Unleash your creativity. For bookings, email us at marketing@dominion.org.ng. Call us on 0705 506 1061 or 0916 101 1061. Check us out on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and TikTok at Dominion Broadcast, and on X at Dominioncast. Book your space today. Dominion Television, your channel of choice.
Live from the heart of the action. Welcome to the nerve center of Next Level Broadcasting.
This This is the OB van, where the studio meets the street.
Equipped with cutting-edge cameras, crystal clear audio, real-time switching, and broadcast control, we don't just capture moments, we deliver the experience live.
Anywhere, anytime, from stadiums to red carpets, breaking news to buzzing festivals, weddings, birthdays, and all sorts of ceremonies. We bring the world to your screen in real time.
It's not just a van, it's a complete mobile production house, a command center, a broadcast beast.
This is more than a broadcast. This is the OB van difference. Live, loud, limitless.
Ready to go live? Like never before. Book the OB van today and take your event to the world. One powerful broadcast at a time.
To book, call 0705 506 1061 or 0916 101 1061. Email marketing@dominion.org.ng or visit our socials on Instagram @Dominion Broadcast.
Dominion Broadcast, your channel of choice.
All right, good morning and welcome to The Big Story, your authoritative platform for deep national conversations and informed perspectives. Today we revisit one of Nigeria's most heated political arguments, an issue that dominated headlines, shaped alliances, divided opinions, and continues to spark debates 2 years into this administration. Our focus this morning is the Muslim presidency debate, marginalization or misperception. 2 years after President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and Vice President Kashim Shettima assumed office on a joint Muslim ticket, has the fear of marginalization become a reality? Or has the uproar a product of political suspicion, emotional tension, and misinterpretation of democratic choices? Let's explore the past and, of course, assess the present and weigh the implications for Nigeria's future. The road to Nigeria's first Muslim presidential ticket in nearly 3 decades was anything but smooth. In 2022, after the APC presidential primaries produced Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu as candidate, the search for a running mate quickly transformed into a national debate. Ethnic balancing, religious sensitivity, political strategy, and electoral mathematics all collided, with the North seen as a key battleground. The APC leadership considered competence, popularity, and voting strength, and eventually settled on Kashim Shettima, a senator, a 2-term governor from Borno State, also a Muslim. This decision instantly ignited controversy across the country. Religious bodies such as the Christian Association of Nigeria, CAN, expressed deep concern, warning that the choice undermined Nigeria's delicate religious balancing. Influential voices including Bishop Matthew Kuka, Dr. Akim Baba Ahmed, Femi Fani-Kayode initially, and General Ishola Williams retired. Several other people, civil society groups, raised alarms about potential exclusion of Christians in governance. Some saw it as a political insensitivity. Others viewed it as an electoral calculation taken too far. There were protests, televised debates, and a wave of opinions, articles predicting tension, distrust, and national fragmentation. Yet, there were also supporters who defended the ticket. Some defended it with their lives, arguing that competence should outweigh religious identity, that Tinubu, though Muslim, had governed Lagos with religious diversity. And that Nigeria needed capacity over sentiment. Yes, that statement is actually true. In a challenging economic and security climate, fast forward to 2 years into administration, where do we stand today? Has the Muslim presidency validated earlier fears of marginalization? Have appointments and policy directions reflected inclusivity or reinforced division? Are Nigerians more concerned about religious balance or about livelihood, economy, and security? Of course, more importantly, has perception overshadowed reality or vice versa? Today we peel back the layers of politics, sentiments, and governance to answer the lingering question: is the debate about genuine marginalization or misperception shaped by Nigeria's complex diversities? Thank you for joining us on The Big Story this morning. I won't be doing this alone. I have a seasoned public affairs analyst, a comrade at that, Comrade Ademola Aremo. She's with me in the studio this morning and we'll be making sense of this particular topic. Good to have you in the studio.
It's so good to be with you this morning. Good morning.
All right, as some would love to call you Comrade Katie.
Yes.
I'll be going by Katie on the show this
Yes,
morning.
okay.
Comrade Oluwakemi Ademola Aremo. Now, let's talk about Muslim tickets. After 2 years of this administration, judging by what happened before and now, and then we'll talk about the future, how exactly has it panned out for the Nigerian people?
I put it to you, Nigeria definitely is a nation of diverse mosaic, which should have really made a very beautiful art piece. Unfortunately, we choose to throw sentiments up there because the average Nigerian is not capable of, I'll say, critical reasoning. These are things that should be taught in a multicultural society, in a diversity, intense diversity, and because, and of course, lack, okay, and inequality in the society. So ethnicity, religiosity will come to play. Over time, it's never been of a border. Yeah. If you've ever, many of my friends are Muslims, and they're fantastic guys. You see, if you were in the north, almost everybody would be Muslim. So it's never really the problem. The policy is neutral, should be neutral. Unfortunately, the Nigerian constitution has a way of not really balancing issues. So people were scared. But you discover that.
Comrade Katie, please hold your thought a little bit. We'll be back. Let's go on a quick break. And when we return, the show continues. This is The Big Story. We'll be back.
Need a professional space to bring your vision to life? Dominion Television Studios offers state-of-the-art facilities perfect for your next broadcast, commercial, corporate video, or live event. With flexible rental options, cutting-edge equipment, and a supportive team, we provide the perfect environment for high-quality productions. Unleash your creativity. For bookings, email us at marketing@dominion.org.ng. Call us on 0705 506 1061 or 0916 101 1061. Check us out on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and TikTok at Dominion Broadcast and on X at Dominion Cast. Book your space today. Dominion Television, your channel of choice.
Live from the heart of the action. Welcome to the nerve center of Next Level Broadcasting.
This is the OB van, where the studio meets the street.
Equipped with cutting-edge cameras, crystal clear audio, real-time switching, and broadcast control, we don't just capture moments, we deliver the experience live.
Anywhere, anytime, from stadiums to red carpets, breaking news to buzzing festivals, weddings, birthdays, and all sorts of ceremonies. We bring the world to your screen in real time.
It's not just a van, it's a complete mobile production house, a command center, a broadcast beast.
This is more than a broadcast. This is the OB Van difference. Live, loud, limitless.
Ready to go live like never before? Book the OB Van today and take your event to the world. One powerful broadcast at a time.
To book, call 0705 506 1061 or 0916 101 1061. Email marketing@dominion.org.ng or visit our socials on Instagram @Dominion Broadcast.
Dominion Broadcast, your channel of choice.
All right, welcome back from that short break. The show is still Daybreak Live on Dominion Television, your channel of choice, where inspiration meets entertainment. And of course, this is the big story. I still have with me in the studio this morning, Comrade Oluwakemi Ademola Aremu, with whom we'll be making sense of the Muslim presidency tickets in the country. All right, when the news of the Muslim ticket broke, and as it stands right now, how does it feel for the Nigerian people?
No, where there's no knowledge and where we don't have facts or access to facts, people will be afraid of the unknown.
Okay.
So the unknown is fearful to anybody because you're going to walk into the dark. But as it plays out, it has never been religion in Nigeria, I put it to you. The essence of religion is to shape values. Okay. It means we're assuming if you thought that someday you'll be accountable to somebody somewhere and you think your eternal future is dependent on that accountability, you would modify behavior. But that is not what we've seen in Nigeria. It's never a religious war. It's really a class war. I put it to you. Anybody that is evil is of the devil. Anybody that is good is of God. And it's not restricted to anything. And I keep saying it. Even traditional African religion is monotheistic. It's not polytheistic. They believed in the process of reaching the supreme being, who is the creator of everybody and has made all men equal and given us all equal rights. So the behavior of the political class of Nigeria does not show anything like the fear of God. So irrespective of what they claim to be, because God loves the poor, takes care of the poor, justice means equity, peace means development. All their activities, summation, has it led to development of Nigerian polity? No. But they keep using those tools as instruments of distraction for the people. They throw up 3 terrible human beings at any one time or 2. Then you have to start bothering yourself about who do I choose of the crazy, they're not throwing up the best. So that's what we're saying. The society, when it throws up the best, you don't care what they do in their bedroom praying. What's your business with that? Really, we just want competent people. If there are security issues, you bring people that's savvy in military strategy. The highest form of training goes for the military, believe it. Because a military man is taking that role, and of course, within the limits, is taking that role at the cost of life. It is a way of life. It is the discipline of the mind, the body, to think outside the norm. It's to keep maintaining a mean while your mind is able to focus on things that are not within your view. It's a very strategic training. So a situation where you now choose people that have nothing in their heart about protection, people that have nothing in their heart and capacity in defense, and you now just put anybody anywhere. So it is never about the religion that the man practices, because how do they even have time to practice any religion? Ask yourself, do these people look like people that understand who God is? No, so it's never the Muslim ticket.
If it wasn't about religion, so what was the reason for the intensity of the backlash when the Muslim ticket was announced?
It would be because over time, people would have noticed that because of the scarcity, Nigeria is not really a very rich nation. It's potentially rich.
Okay.
But when you look at the gross domestic product, it is poor because too many people in the society are not positively engaged, and the ones that are even engaged are not positively remunerated, and we have fictitious pricing in the nation. So if a nation is very wealthy, it will mean that every individual is positively engaged, contributing. So the ones that are criminal or that's not so able within the system will benefit from the excess profit of the people that are in place.
Okay, now let's go back in history a little bit. In the year 1993, you were an active participant in what happened at the time.
Yes.
Nigeria once had Muslim ticket, and that was MKO Abiola and
Yes.
Babangana Kingibe, one from the south and the other from the north. And there was no backlash at the time. Even if there were, it was so little that people had forgotten about it.
Yeah.
So what's the difference between then and now? Have we matured into the country that is sensitive about religion, or we have gotten worse that religion is now a tool?
No, there was a precedent. General Muhammad Buhari. He single-handedly set fire to this nation. More than anybody had ever done, obviously. Nepotism started sometimes back. Even now, you have a situation where the governor is not and the wife is going to be representing. On what platform? Nigeria does not have a place for the first lady. Okay?
She's supposed to be constitutionally enshrined.
Yes, she's supposed to be in a ceremonial post, a hostess, because definitely the husband has a function. Okay, that is what it's supposed to be. Over time, you now had the office of first son, foolish daughter. Yeah, I will not put it first daughter. The reason I'm saying it is this: even if your father had some issues, you, the child, should know to step back. Nepotism does a terrible thing to the nation. But under General Muhammad Buhari, it was too obvious. In fact, all the wives needed the first daughters and first sons to be occupying positions. And I remember the show of shame at the Aso Rock when they had to go and be shooting gun. You see. So Nigerians should please understand, it is our duty as a nation to remain secular, to not be sentimental. When you go to the hospital, you don't check whether your doctor is a Christian or a Muslim. You might tend to go for the private doctor that leans towards your faith because you want a mix of maybe your physical health, your mental health, and your spiritual space taken care. So that is specialized. But when you go to a public space, you don't start asking, hey, doctor, are you Muslim or Christian? And when you have a lecturer in class or a teacher, you'll be asking if they're Muslim or Christian. What you want is knowledge. So let's be focused on the issues. The issue of insecurity, because like I mentioned, I'm still waiting for the day when somebody bold enough will remove all the GSON behind General Muhammad's name, because he did funny. He single-handedly sensitized us, and it's almost going to lead to almost an extinction of his tribe. Now, why? We know I was Secretary of Women in Nigeria, so I know Nigeria very well. And I enjoyed Nigeria. I'm telling you, if you were traveling long distance and your vehicle broke down in any village, you don't even ask, where have you crossed to? You don't care, okay? If it's in Kenya, you greet people there. They even say, oh, you're welcome, They take care of you, give you water. Africans are good. Nigerians are very good. I love Nigeria.
So how much damage has religion done to the Nigerian people?
No, nothing. Nigerians have gotten over that rubbish. I'm telling you, the average Nigerian knows now that being a pastor does not mean you are really worshiping Jehovah. You can be worshiping something else, okay? And I have to put this right. In the spiritual realm, there are only two extremes, white or black. It's either you're for good or for evil. So don't confuse yourself. If the person says, the cloak does not make the monk. Okay, so somebody can tell you, I'm a Christian, meaning you are, that person is actually tampering with your decision-making process. You want you to assume that because he has pronounced Christianity is like Christ. No, it's not necessarily so. And you've seen it demonstrated in their behavior. All the political class does at any time is to maintain power. Understand, power is used for control or service. So if they are controlling you, deal with the issues. Nigerians, deal with the issues. Human beings, deal with the issues. Humanity first. If you embezzle money, you're a thief. You belong to the devil. He's a thief. If you're a liar, you're a liar. And if you are cowardly, you also belong to them. You are one of the reasons injustice is walking on our street. If you do not speak out, you do not stand for the poor, you do not help the poor, you are of the devil. There's no deception about it. God is clear. God is the creator of every human being. Even if you're atheistic, you're thinking, I don't believe in God. They are saying, I don't believe in theocracy. Theocracy has been an instrument of oppression for life. And it's still happening. So let's get it right. And I say people have a right to hell. Let's get that right. Yes. Right to hell. So nobody should say they are sacrificing another human being because of a God. No. The maker of heaven and earth could have made all of us of one religion. But he made all of us of one blood. One Adam, one Eve, one source. But somehow, instrumentation of division, of power over time has made people to start hating one another. So if there's hatred in your heart, you are not human. You have a demon. Demon means the engine within your spirit that is motivating you, mobilizing you, is feeding on human blood. You are not correct. So irrespective of what you claim. So if you're a traditional medical practitioner, which has a lot to do with accountability too, you see them say that, look, I have to be careful because I must not shed innocent blood. So let's get it clear. There is nothing about ambiguity about this stuff. If you're not godly, you're not fair, you're not just, you don't help, you are of the devil. If you embezzle money, promote your wife unduly, your children are safe somewhere and you want to recruit other people's children to go and die in Sambisa forest, you're of the devil. So it is never the religion. It's that what is the practice of these people? What instrument of law are they using? However, I must say that certain leniencies and variations within the religion already socialize you. They are socialization policies. They already socialized you towards hatred for people. And they tell you, look, that person is your problem. And I keep saying it's a 5-tribal world. The first tribe says, the world stinks, you are my problem. It is because of you I cannot go to school. It's because of you I don't have what I should have. So those people are murderers. Then another tribe says, and it's human, that's what I say, human tribe. The second tribe says, oh, my life sucks. Let me pursue more business. Let me take care of myself. Let me go to school. Let me venture. Let me try. You see? And people say, let's support you. That's second tribe. Third tribe says, no, we are the big people. We're professional. We don't need anybody. That goes for all this, what will I call them? Low, middle class. I'm a doctor. I don't need a lawyer. We are lawyers. Trouble in my business. You see it on their cars. It's not shameful. You know, we fight only for ourselves. Those tribes, irrespective of where they are still in competition. They are not secured. Those ones are the third tribe. They bring a lot of divisive activities, okay? This one is a maid in my house, therefore I can rape. Can you imagine such behavior? Then the fourth tribe says, oh, no, I'm a lawyer, I need a doctor when I'm sick. And we begin to respect professionalism. I need an accountant, I need a journalist, I need a media expert. We begin to respect people in their chosen field of service to humanity. Then the fifth tribe says, well, I think I have enough, I'm content. Who can I give to? What can I give? Now, irrespective of the age, time, climb, feelings, emotions, people can serve from day 2. After they are born, you see a baby, one that bites everybody, you know, it's possible. Even with their gum, toothless gum, they'll be very aggressive. You see some that just smile, make it easy for you. Oh, you're even wet. You know, and there's one that harass. Okay, so there are personality differences amongst people. No personality is really bad, but the people should be clear on what we're talking about. For me, I've had occasion to live in the north. If you're going to have trouble, let your HOD be a southerner and a Christian. You will see the meaning of trouble. Yes, because of attitude. And if you're going to have peace, you know, another thing about this mosaic called Nigeria is that if you've not traveled around Nigeria, you never understand Nigeria. You don't understand the country. You will never. For example, if you say Muslims are killing Christians or whatever, I say, please don't talk if you're in southwestern Nigeria. Why? Because all around you all the time is a diversity and a security. But if you were a Christian living in the north, you have another cough coming up. So that is it. So if you were in the east now, and you're talking about the ability of entrepreneurship, it's so easy for you to register business and start in your small corner because your system has worked on economics. You have support easily. You lose the money, they bring more, you know, because they've perfected that way. Then if you come to the West, going to school is like drinking milk because even my grandma went to school. So what am I saying? The beauty should be our strength. I should be able to, yes, because for me, I can make ekpa and koko. Yes, it's one food from Akwa Ibom. I love it so much, you know. And one day I saw one guy, so I wanted benetete. I said, we have it in our garden, okay? That goes for my ability to make banga. I'm comfortable with Nigeria, okay? I know exactly what I want from Benin. I want the door. You know, when I want wood, I want Benin wood, you know. So I know Nigeria, you know. So I'm simply saying that every other young person, though right now I'm not able to go around Nigeria, I'm afraid to. So right now, I'm asking for all Nigerians to have a taste of every tribe, okay? Because that is where our strength is. No, you can never have it all. That was why I mentioned that third tribe that says, I'm a doctor, I don't need a lawyer, and look down on a teacher. No. The fourth tribe says, I need you. I need every Nigerian. So your religion should be private. And that is why the federal government of Nigeria should stop sponsoring pilgrimages. Please, your pilgrimage is your journey of faith. It is your...
No, it should not be paid for with the taxpayers' money.
You cannot spend 10 million of everybody's money on what? When you cannot even give 10 million to each family to do business. Let it even be that if federal government is so interested in giving money, give the family, let them use the money for 1 year. Then the profit of the next season, they should use it to sponsor 2 people to go. You'll be shocked how they won't want to do that.
Okay. Let's talk about people who have actually had their take on the Muslim ticket in time past. That was Bishop Azan Machikuka, also one of those who made a huge statement about it. Femi Fani-Kayode, for example, who has now been nominated to become an ambassador. And then you look at Bishop Matthew Kuka also. In 2025, President Tinubu appointed Matthew Kuka as the Pro-Chancellor and Chairman of the Governing Council of the newly converted Federal University of Applied Sciences, Kashia, in Kaduna State. Now, you see most of them who at one point or the other said one thing or the other about the Muslim ticket. At the point, they stopped talking about it. And then everyone went about their businesses as usual. Now, is it that this administration has proven beyond reasonable doubt that governance should be superior to any other agitation? Is it why most of them are not saying anything about it?
No. There was this analogy I used to give my students. When they come to class, I tell them, you're privileged to be in the university. And I prove it to them. I say, if you consider your matriculation number and the oldest university in Nigeria, we have less than 20 million of the population that is educated. So there are no substitutes for these people. And that is why everybody should struggle to learn what they have to learn on time. So over time, you need to choose of the people that you are throwing up again. And that is why education must be compulsory and it must be free. Because some people are already cut off from it. So now, if you look at who are the possible heads, very few people really, for all the needs in Nigeria. So there's space for everybody. And believe it, these people meet every time. They meet every time. You cannot, like I mentioned earlier.
It's a circle.
It's not just the circle, it's the fact that there's scarcity of resources. If you want to count all the lawyers in Nigeria, there are not really as many as they should be for the population. If you check the policemen, there are not as many as they should be. So there's scarcity. What I can't understand is the dysfunctionality. A situation where you know that the people that are growing up, they should just be moving into space because the population is expanding that way. But no, some people that are so insecure think allowing another human being to read will rob them a housemaid. Some people think allowing other people to trade in business will reduce their value in the society. That is why the evil is a class war. It is civilian dictatorship versus the populace. It is the inability of the masses to think right. Get it. You have to become a player. Get on the field of play. And don't be afraid. Don't be afraid and don't think. And that's the other dead terrible thing about Nigeria. The poor think if we gang up, we bring them down. You can't bring them down because the positions they are occupying are positions that are to be occupied by professionals, people that are trained to be global citizens.
Okay, now just before we go, let me ask you this question very quickly. Do you think going into the 2027 general election, Nigeria will still attempt the same fate ticket?
Well, it's not for me to predict that because right now you can see PDP is going its way, APC is going that way. I am looking forward to a situation where the INEC chairman will allow people to start voting from the councillorship. Not the presidential election first. If we can do that, you'll be surprised what will happen. At the end of the day, whoever emerge, people will now seek out who should be the running mates, who they should present, because it is now bottom up. Okay?
So some have said that it should be an open discussion and, of course, an open election where Nigeria should go to a state where even vice presidents will have to contest their own position too and not be on the same ticket.
We can't afford it for now. It's a party state. So what we hope for eventually, that's what I'm saying, for what we have now, the best is for the new INEC chair to build his name into the sands of time. He should start from the community. That means we should have won. Thank God we're going community policing. That's one. Let it be so. Because now people will be assured my brother won't kill me. If he tries, he will go for his family member. It's very simple. Then we now go for the next level of it. The next level is that politics should also start from the grassroots. And the grassroots should be educated. What I mean by that is not saying, oh, you just give me money, you vote. No, 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 no. Understand the future of your children is dependent on the man that speaks for you. And that was why Christians were really concerned. They're thinking, if nobody is defending us and the Constitution is not defending us, so what happens? Kick religion out of our Constitution. I'm telling you, let human beings be human beings. Yes, let God be God, let people be people. And there's something about backsliding too. So those people that you think are on your side, they can just be Freemason cruising. So what are we saying?
Very quickly, Comrade Katie, in just 15, 20 seconds, what should the government do to foster national cohesion and douse the lingering fears people have ahead of 2027 general elections?
Well, I don't think the civilian dictatorship governance and political structure can change anything. The people that we call to are mothers. When they kill people, it's our children. Men don't produce babies. Yes. So women should stand up, and I look forward to the day when we have a female political party. See what we do in Nigeria. Yes, 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 yes. Because our interest is humane. Our interest is human. No woman allows another child to be killed. Do you know what that means? When a child dies anywhere in Nigeria, I weep. When there's abduction, I weep. When there is insecurity. Look, what is it? If a child fails, even if it's not your child, you have that pain because we birth babies. So women, rise up and defend the lives of the men. Men are for protection and provision, but sometimes confused. So now, let the women rise up, defend our sons, our husbands, our children, safeguard the future. I look forward to that.
All right, thank you, Comrade Oluwakemi Ademola Aremu, for joining us on the show this morning. It has been an enlightening session with you, and we do hope to have you back on the show as soon as possible. All right, and that's where we wrap up today's edition of The Big Story. The debate over Muslim presidency may remain one of the most defining political conversations of our time. But what matters most is how Nigeria moves forward, whether in unity, understanding, or deeper polarization. A citizen's responsibility is to stay informed, hold leaders accountable, and continue demanding a government that reflects fairness, justice, and national cohesion, irrespective of religious identity. Samson Balogun is my name. Thank you for joining us. Keep the conversation going. Stay engaged. As always, stay tuned for more insightful discussions on The Big Story. Up next is Trend Watch. We'll be back after this time out.
Need a professional space to bring your vision to life? Dominion Television Studios offers state-of-the-art facilities perfect for your next broadcast, commercial, corporate video, or live event. With flexible rental options, cutting-edge equipment, and a supportive team, we provide the perfect environment for high-quality productions. Unleash your creativity. For bookings, email us at marketing@dominion.org.ng. Call us on 0705 506 1061 or 0916 101 1061. Check us out on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and TikTok at Dominion Broadcast, and on X at Dominion Cast. Book your space today. Dominion Television, your channel of choice.
All right, welcome back from that short break. The show is still Daybreak Live right here on Dominion Television, your channel of choice, your inspiration, it's entertainment. Do well to link up with us on all social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, at Dominion Broadcast, and on X, formerly Twitter, at Dominion Cast. You can also watch us live now with Facebook and YouTube channels at Dominion Broadcast. Leave a comment and definitely we'll take them on this show. You can watch us on our website too, www.dominion.org.ng, dominion.org.ng. Now it's time for Trend Watcher, and Anulu Akwa is back in the studio with me.
First of all, let me say that was an insightful conversation, you know, something high point from there, so something to work on, especially for Nigeria and for people, everybody.
The 5 tribes, actually.
Absolutely. So what we have on Trend Watch today is coming from a former defense chief in Lucky Rabo. He came out to say that some politicians finance terrorism in Nigeria, but trials, names kept secrets, according to him. Just recently, Mohammed Idris, the Minister of Information and National Orientation, came out to say that they are going to name them as soon as possible, and they are working to get to the end of this issue. There's been a lot of promise, especially when it comes to terrorism financing in the country. In fact, I went online to check on Forbes to see how much does it cost to own a rifle, especially an AK-47. And I saw Forbes put it about $2,700 to $3,600 US. I calculated that, and that's running into millions. How can 200 soldiers bear AK-47 rifles without financing? Where are they working? How many cows can you sell to get one rifle? Talk more of getting more rifles. If you have over 200 people in the forest, in the thick of the forest, with AK-47,
with ammunitions.
That's not the only thing they carry. They bear IEDs, you know, explosive devices, all of this, but they're also expensive. They have trucks. They have all these very heavy artilleries and machineries that they are using to perpetuate whatever they are doing in the country. It's cost a fortune to own these things. If there's no financing, there is no way. In fact, someone put it right. They say, the day you stifle or you take away money or financing from terrorism, it dies a natural death. What we have in the country, there's nobody that can dispute the fact that it is being financed by some sects, by some people. But the question has been, who are the persons? Samson, you might want to tell us, maybe you know.
Well, I think this is a question that, you know, most Nigerians have asked too many times, and there was no response. And if there was a response, it wasn't the right response, or maybe that was the response. That wasn't the response most Nigerians were actually looking for, waiting to hear. You see, Nigeria is at a disadvantage, and you know why I said that is because Nigeria has a crisis, and Nigeria doesn't know that Nigeria has a crisis, or maybe Nigerians don't know that Nigeria has a crisis, and it's right in the face of everyone. It's very clear for everyone to see. See, when we talk about terrorism financing, it's not something done not something in Nigeria that is just comfortable with a house and then maybe a car can actually easily do. You can't just finance terrorism with all of that. I think it has to be someone at the corridor of power, someone who has tasted power, someone who is extremely rich and will benefit greatly from whatever it is that is happening in those bushes. Now, let's break it down a little bit. You see, when you mentioned how much it costs to get a Kalashnikov AK-47, whatever it is, it runs into thousands of US dollars and millions in Naira at the rate of 1,450 or maybe 1,500 Naira. Let's put that aside. Let's talk about how much it costs to run, you know, to buy fuel, to fuel trucks, to fuel trucks. Let's leave feeding to fuel trucks. Let's say you have about 20 trucks, for example, 20 Hilux vehicles to fuel, and then you are going to use them 24/7 and 365 days a year. Look at how much it will cost to fuel those vehicles. That is one. Do you know how much it costs to buy one bullet, ammunitions? So, when you look at them, it's not like they are strategic about how they spray their bullet. They just spray sporadically, generously, not minding whatever it is going. They just want to, you know, express themselves with the gun, and that's another problem in our hand. Let's now go back to what happened during the Civil War, when the late sage Obafemi Awolowo had to step in. He made this statement about, you see, you cannot be fighting a battle and still be feeding the person you are fighting. The first thing you do is to cut the supply chain. What are they eating? What drug are they using? What water do they drink? Who buys them fuel? Who gives them fuel? These are the things you should look out for. So once that channel is cut off, then it dies a natural death, because you cannot survive in those bushes without all these supplies. And then if you check the internet, you see a lot of you know, things that really shouldn't be happening. You see, there was a time they said choppers do drop supplies for them in the bushes. Who owns these choppers? Can they be tracked? That's a big question. who owns it, and then who finances it, who fuels it. At least you get fuel from somewhere before you fly. Who gives the all clear that chopper must fly and then land in such a place? That's a big question. And that is to say that if you are talking about terrorism, if you are talking about insecurity, it cannot survive unless the body language of the people at the corridor of power says yes. Unless someone somewhere that is so rich and so powerful is saying yes. And that's the crisis we're having on our hand. From what you see what you read on the pages of the newspaper is about, the no to terrorism. And from what you see in their body language, it says yes. Because, I mean, there are so many things that really should be done that is not being done. We know where this, I will still go back to this again and again. About 3 weeks ago, news broke that ISWAP and Boko Haram were having a battle on the Nigerian territory. They fought for, I think, about 2 days. The body count was about 200. But nobody has said anything about what happened there. So does that mean that we don't know what was happening there? And we don't know how to tackle the situation? I mean, it surely shows that at that point, when the battle was going on, it was just Boko Haram and ISWAP that was there. Why not airstrike? Why not wipe them?
That's a suitable chance to just
wipe them. And at least, if not all, at least you wipe a sizable number of members of Boko Haram and ISWAP at one go. But somehow, somewhere, someone decided not to do anything. So what I was saying about body language, you see, what you want to take it, look at what Donald Trump said. And sent so many big names in the country, they were shaking here and there about what to do next. Is that his body language and what he said says no to what is going on in the country. But unfortunately, if you want to address this issue now, we'll now go back to religion. We'll start talking about religion. What we should be talking about actual issues. A country that is not issue-based, a country that is not talking about strategic things that will move the country forward is a failed country. And I think gradually, Nigeria might just be going towards that direction. And we really have to put an end to it as soon as possible.
I'll just lay claims very quickly before we move on to what, a former presidential candidate, also a pastor, Tunde Bakari, said briefly the day before yesterday. And then he was mentioning the fact that the government and the people in the legislature were folding their arms while the United States government was planning actions in the country. How sad, how unfortunate is this? The country is sleeping while the people outside the country are working to ensure that...
not even Nigerians.
I mean,
they are working to ensure security in the country while it's more or less like we are sleeping there. So let's just take 2 comments before we go. I think Mustafa Alilu says, name them if you know them. When you were there, what impact did you make? That's a very big one. And one of them has resigned, others to follow. That's coming from Jeremiah Peter.
He was referring to Ribadu.
Yeah, Ribadu.
That's exactly
that's exactly one place to, defined place to leave this conversation this morning. We say thank you for joining us on the show this morning. As I always say, champions are not made in the stadium. They are made of something deep inside of them. And of course, it is on that note to draw the curtains on today's edition of Daybreak Live right here on Dominion Television. So, Samson Balogun is my name. Join us again, same time, same station, same host tomorrow. Bye for now.
And I would say do what is right, regardless of who's doing it or who's not doing it, who is watching you or who's not watching you. My name is Anulu Akwedo. Thank you very much for joining us. Enjoy the rest of the day.